Beyond and hello and welcome once again to IGN's weekly PlayStation show. I'm your host Max Scoville, and coming up, PlayStation hardware prices are going up yet again. So what does this mean for PlayStation 6? Well, let's get into it. I am joined once again by my good pal Brian Altano. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Good. Sure.
Yeah, I don't. What brings you joy in this today?
I want to say that one of my favorite things in the world is when something stays the same price. Doesn't even have to go down. That's such a low bar. It doesn't even do that. But when just something stays the same price. Oh, and if it doesn't get smaller too. Like if it stays the same price and doesn't get smaller or worse, which is, I believe, shrinkflation and skimpflation.
I think consumer electronics are the one thing where you want them to get smaller.
You do, yeah.
Unless it's like
I think I'm okay with that.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk about fun things. I want to talk about cool computer games where you get to go on crazy adventures.
When we did that episode about Resident Evil Requiem, we talked about a bunch of. We've been talking about games we love. I hate talking about like studio closures and layoffs, and I hate talking about how shitty this console generation is for the average consumer. I hate talking about those things. I would rather not talk about those things. I would rather more people can come into the fold as PlayStation fans and console fans and video gamers in general, and they just keep making that harder for people, and that sucks.
Yeah, so let's actually unpack what happened here. Last week, Sony announces that the prices are going up for the PlayStation 5, the disc-full and disc-less versions, the PS5 Pro, and the PlayStation Portal, and blames continued pressures in the global economic landscape, which is a very fancy word for just intergalactic and shitification of all things.
Yes.
But yeah, so the PS5 Pro, which was what, like $700 when it was announced?
Yes.
Is now $900 starting just a day or two after this episode goes live. It all takes effect on April 2nd. I wish this was like an April Fool's joke, but they don't do that.
I think what I specifically hate about this is that they gave everybody like a 5-day. I guess that's good, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going to screw somebody over, be like, hey guys, you got 5 days to get your shit out or whatever.
Well, you know what's absolutely bonkers is this probably caused a lot of people to run out and buy a PlayStation real fast.
That's the thing. Like it gave me the, like, I've been on the fence about a PS5 Pro for a while now. Talked about it extensively on the show about like every now and then you get those little pangs of FOMO, and then you're like, GTA 6, and like I wasn't, when I was sitting there playing Requiem 6 times straight through, I wasn't like, man, what an ugly game. I wish I had something better looking here. But like I'm starting to get the feeling that this generation's kind of in it for the long haul, and It's weird enough as is that the way the direction things are heading. I don't really know when a PS6 will happen. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, this made me go like, what can I scrounge like in the couch cushions? What can I sell in my house to get a PS5 Pro before it turns into a $900 item that has like barely a discernible difference from the thing I have already?
Mm-hmm. No, so the official price for a baseline PS5 is $649.99 in the US, which is $569.99 in the UK, or $649.99 in euros, or $1,000 in Australia, or 97,980 yen in Japan. It's a whole global thing. It's all going up about the same amount worldwide. That money will get you different amounts of things in different territories, but I think the general global consensus is this is too much. The PS5 Digital Edition is now $600 in the US. And the PS5 Pro is $899.99, which is that's a lot.
Okay, so I want to point out real quick, you and I both bought PS5s on launch day in 2020, which I hate to be the bearer of reality, but that is now almost 6 years ago, which feels insane to me. But I paid $399.99 for my discless PS5, my PS5 all digital edition, right? I've been all digital for a while. No shade to people who collect discs and all that. But that has gone up $200 since I purchased it. This is not like I bought a house or stocks. I bought a piece of hardware that has, by all measures, been used for hundreds of hours since and probably degraded in quality, right? Like there's probably like dust I need to blast out of it. Like I know that by the end of the last generation, my PS4 sounded like a helicopter, right?
I love how they did kind of future-proof this thing for that, where they're like, this is going to get loud. It's going to get noisy. So one of the leading features of this new console is you can pry off those stupid-looking boogie boards on the side and just hit it with an air duster or a vacuum cleaner, whatever. Just get in there.
I feel insane, Max, that like consoles have gone up $200. Like the whole pitch forever for this stuff was the early adopters are the hardcore gamers, and they're the ones that like they come in early on. They are power users, right? People like us, we get there day one, right? Like, and then over time, that price drops. And new people who have been on the fence or maybe more casual or waiting for the right time to come in when there's a larger library, then they come in. Like we're looking at this chart right now, and I'll read it to people who are, we found this on Reddit. I'll read it to people who are listening. It goes through the launch price of every PlayStation console and then how much of a price had dropped 6 years later. And so we're at just around the same clip right now. It's been just about 6 years. It'll be, 6 years in just a few months. The PS1 was $299 at launch, dropped by $99 dropped to $99 after 6 years. So 6 years after the PS1 launched, you could get this thing for under $100. That is a no-brainer. That had an incredible library 6 years in, right? That's a 66% price drop.
That's when I bought my first PlayStation.
I mean, that was a great time to be like, yeah, man, I'm ready.
I was a child, and I saved my allowance, and I got it when it was like $129.95. And it was
PS2, even better library, right? Arguably the best PlayStation library of all time. $299 at launch, $129 after 6 years. That's how much it costs. It costs $129. Max, you have a wife and a kid and you live in the Bay Area. You've gone out to brunch and it's cost that, right?
Easily, yeah.
And you're like, I don't even know what happened.
Also,
my kid got 2 lemonades.
Again, the thing the PS2 had going for it, one of the best things, was it's also a DVD player.
Yeah.
Which was like a new thing that people were debating getting. And it's like, well, you get a DVD player that's also a cool video game system. So that's...
Yeah, and then you had this whole like greatest hits library by then, right? Like there was all these different ways. Not only were you getting a cheaper console, but there was an entire aftermarket of used games that were way more ubiquitous. You could buy, the sort of like much cheaper, Game of the Year versions and all that fun stuff, right? So that was a 56% price drop. PS3, $599 US. We all remember the system shock on that one. Right, that was a price that did not go over well. That was one of the more interesting console generations because Xbox and PS3 were pretty neck and neck for a while there, and they turned that around and price dropped pretty quickly. That was one of those things that like, and I know that like people are going to look at these numbers, going to be like comparatively with global inflation and yada yada yada. It was actually blah 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 blah. The reality is that like the minimum wage has not gone up at the same clip as these prices have, so it's kind of negligible. That dropped to $269 after 6 years, which again, like that was a powerful machine, right? Like that was a Blu-ray player. This was a 55% price drop. Like that's a good deal, right? Like it never really hit quite the same highs as the PS2, but the PS3 had a pretty kick-ass library by the end. And same deal, you could get a bunch of games dirt cheap, right? And they weren't like necessarily as tethered to this overly expensive online subscription-based ecosystem crap that everybody's doing now, right? PS4, $399 at launch, which just feels crazy, honestly, looking at this. Like that felt like a really good deal at the time. Like I know like $400 is, it's never easy spending $400, but spending $400 on a PS4 on day one, I don't know, man, seemed pretty cool.
No, man, PS4 is great. I don't like... I feel like enough road is behind us to sort of look in the rearview mirror and be nostalgic about it. But like I don't want to say it peaked, but it definitely had like a very nice plateau for a minute there.
I really loved the PS4. I feel like that was
generation is killer for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
And the fact that you could get in day one for $400, definitely a major one.
Yeah, I mean, the general first-party software output on PS4 definitely shrunk compared to PS2 and PS3. It wasn't like the era where we're getting, 3 Uncharted's in one consoles, but like the games we got there were, far and above any quality of anything we'd ever seen from Sony, which was really, really cool, right? Like this is when they were really started doing this, like we're going to mimic the film industry, right? Which I guess you could make an argument, had its own set of issues, but that dropped to $199 after 6 years, a 50% drop. So complete cut in half price. So if you're one of those people that was on the fence and you're like, this is the generation that like, more and more people kept buying the GTA, and this is like so many people became hardcore Sony fans during the PS4 era, and I think it's because you get this amazing next gen console that's a Blu-ray player, and it's $200. It's got this incredible library. You got The Last of Us 1 and 2. You got
this is stupid. This just seeing like $199 next to a PS4, which I think I have one right here. Like I have a PS. It's irrelevant. It just makes me want to go buy a PS4 again. Like
I know. The price, the price that it's down to now is relevant. It is the same price as the price my PS5 digital has gone up. So in the 6 years, I could have just gotten an extra console. I feel crazy, man. Okay, and then we get to PS5, launched at $499 or $399 if I purchased it on digitally. But the disc version $499 is now 6 years later $649. That is a 30% price increase. First generation we've ever seen price increases ever. Sony's not the only one doing it. Like we've been talking about this for a few minutes. Microsoft did this recently. Nintendo didn't exactly see significant price cuts on the Switch. Switch 2 is kind of pricey, and they're constantly doing that threatening, like, we're analyzing global interest trends or tariff, whatever it is, right? So, like, all of that is coming into play now. We've seen with RAM and memory and all this other stuff, like, it's just everything's become more expensive. It's like AI cloud garbage, so they could build a data center next to, an orphanage and drain all the lifeblood out of it. There are all the factors coming in. Regardless, end story here. This sucks. It sucks for console gaming. We talk about this a lot. We know these stats. We know that console gaming is one of those things that fewer and fewer people under the age of 40 are engaging with. The people who are playing games, they're coming in through Roblox and Fortnite. They're playing on kind of crappy laptops they have from school and their phones, but they are not really buying, consoles at the same clip as they used to.
Why would you?
Why would you? And so the other issue with this too, and I think this is one of those things that we've also talked about a lot on the show, is that with Xbox pulling back as sort of like a clear and concise competitor, parallel in this space, this has always been my fear, right? Like if you have one dominant, and obviously Nintendo and PlayStation, they're still competing for hours and gaming and all that stuff, right? There's overlap there for sure. But if you have Microsoft being like, hey, we're making like a PC hybrid, or like they spent 2 years being like everything's an Xbox, even a horse. Like now we're at this point where it's just like they're pulling away, they're doing their own strategy. They're basically being like, we're a subscription based model, Game Pass, we're kind of a PC hybrid thing. PlayStation's like, oh, is everyone gone? Oh, so what else are you going to do? Right? It's like where I live, I have to pay for Xfinity internet. And I don't like doing that. I used to live closer to you, and I had something called Sonic Internet, which was better and cheaper and reliable. And I know there's worse internets and all those things. And, if you have one of those things, I'm sorry. But I would rather not give them money every single month to be able to go online and do this show, but I have to because it's a monopoly. And I wonder how long people are going to look at this monopoly that Sony has basically seized in the console gaming space, in the next gen console gaming space, where they are making AAA first party games that are exclusive to their own systems, and the only way you can play them is by dropping a minimum of $600 for a digital version where you don't even have direct ownership of the discs, right? Like you see GTA is coming out this year. It's not coming to PC, right? It's people are going to play it on PlayStation. They'll play it on Xbox, but it's not going to be on Switch. It's not going to be on PC, at least not anytime soon. Wolverine, right? Saros, like last year we had Ghost of Yote. Like these games, like they are at the same time concurrently saying like this is what we're doing with our pricing strategy, and also we're not putting these games day and date on PC anymore. And so you're stuck in this corner. We're like, hey man, you want to play GTA 6? Tough luck. I hope you bought a system 6 years ago, or this is the entry fee to get in now. Like it's Sisyphus. He's pushing that boulder up the hill, or like the other guy's he's thirsty. He's trying to drink the water, and the water keeps.
You remember
coming
how
down.
mad everyone got at Sony when they were like, the PS3 is $599.
Yeah,
It's a brand new thing, but it's pretty cool. And in order to get it, you're gonna get.
There was laughter in the room. There was gasps, like because they did that in front of a live.
Yeah,
audience.
and now 6 years in, the PS5 is $50 more than that was day one.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're just kind of like, okay.
Which is, is all of this like laying the groundwork for to soften the sticker shock when they do announce the PS6? Because like, look, let's be honest here. They've been working on the PS6 for years. We all know that, right? They're probably watching what's happening in the console space right now, and they're watching what's happening with chips and AI and all that other stuff. And they're saying to themselves, like, okay, maybe this generation can last a little while longer, but we're 6 years in. Like by the 7th year in a generation, that's pretty much where things start to kind of come down the mountain a little bit, and we start to round the corner and head into kind of the next territory, right? And so I'm worried that if they can tell you a PS5 Pro is worth $900, then an all digital PS6 can launch at $1,000, and you're going to be like, oh, it's only $100 more than last gen, right? Like I think that's the ultimate plan here, is to take those numbers and put them side by side and make people go, oh, it's actually a pretty good deal. And like, it's moving the
goalposts. It's
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, so there's a couple little anecdotal things happening at the same time. I know this is really depressing news for a lot of fans out there, but Sony has actually canceled one of its most highly anticipated PlayStation products, which is the Sony and Honda Mobility Afeelin 1, which is the car that you could do PlayStation in the back of if you brought a controller with you.
Yeah, this is one of the cheaper PlayStations.
I know that people were a little bit cross to hear that the PlayStation Portal is now $250. Well, an $80,000 car was apparently too expensive, so they're just not doing it. This is a thing they dedicated the bulk of 2 CES presentations to. Like this was literally the only thing they brought to CES this last year, and. I mean, I get that there's going to be luxury items. I guess it's just weird to see stuff go from a fairly ubiquitous and widely available thing that was a great way to get in on things. Like the appeal of PlayStation is that it's cheaper than PC gaming. You're splitting the difference between a Nintendo and a gaming rig. Like it's this wonderful kind of sweet spot there that makes it so that anybody can get on board and check this thing out. And as it's gone on, it's sort of escalated. It's entering like luxury territory, and it's, I don't know, the fact that they were like, yes, you can buy this all new this new car, and you can bring the controller is sold separately, but if you can buy this car, who gives a shit? You can buy a controller and put it in the back, and and it's you can remote play games, but you got to have a PS5 at home, but you already have one if you're buying an Afeelin. But anyway, they're just like, we're not Afeelin it. We're just gonna we're gonna pull the plug, I guess literally, because it's an electric car. I mean, pump the brakes would work too, but slash the tires, whatever. It doesn't.
It was always such a funny name.
It never had gas, but now it's definitely it is. They've slowed their roll. But yeah,
I don't feel like buying this.
I don't care. I don't care that they're not.
Uncle.
I don't care they're not making this.
I don't
car.
feel like buying a car.
I got a bad feeling about this.
That's like half my family in New Jersey. What do you mean? I feel like I buy a car. I don't want to buy it.
But yeah, I don't know. That's just that. I don't. That's not a canary in a coal mine, but that's like a.
Wait, we do need to talk about something.
What do we have to talk about?
Because Nick Maillet, who produces the show, he's been on the show several times. Wonderful man. He's getting married next week, so wish him all the love in the world. I hope I can say that. I don't know if I signed an NDA for that. He pointed out that there was actually one piece of PlayStation hardware that was marked safe in this global price increase, and that is the PSVR 2. I think they forgot it. I mean, I know they forgot it when they launched it, but they really forgot it now. Like,
yep.
I don't even know what to say about that. What a weird generation this is. What a I don't want to say blanket bad generation this is, because like obviously there's been some great things. But man, What can you say? What can you say to a console generation that just keeps getting more and more expensive across the board for everyone? How can you possibly say that that's a good thing for anyone?
Well, luckily, there's been a steady stream of brand new games produced in a sustainable and equitable fashion.
Yep.
Oh, wait. Nope.
Yep. Nope. And then
Yeah.
luckily there's been no studio closures or anything like that, or layoffs or shrinking or any of the wonderful things. Yeah, I don't know, man. I
I think
wish,
they should just make PS4 again. I think they should just come out and be like, great news, the PS4 is back.
Sure. Yeah. Let's just.
Fuck a PS6. I don't want a PS6. What's the PS6 going to do?
Make PS4 too. Just do that again.
I don't
let's have that be the ceiling forever. Okay, and if you want more than that, then you can plug in that NVIDIA thing that makes Leon look like a bimbo or whatever.
How dare you? Leon already looked like a bimbo.
No, how about that? Let's make that. Let's make the rule is that we go back to PS4. We stop there. That's the ceiling. It means we get a couple of new games a year. And if you want more, you can plug it into some AI thing that makes the water better or whatever. Or actually, in real life, it makes the water worse. But in the game, it makes the water look better. In real life, it drains a reservoir.
You know what really makes me completely feel insane about this whole thing is I feel like, looking back into sort of the history of consumer electronics and all that, like Sony's always been like, they're a little bit too... Their shit doesn't stink. They're always a little bit too like $599 for the new PlayStation. And everyone's like, hey man, cool it. And the only other company that does that more consistently that people give a pass to is Apple. And Apple comes out and they're like, we've invented a new kind of glass that is more expensive when it breaks. Yep. And this thing now comes in a ugly orange color and it's $14,000 and you're going to put it in your pocket and sit on it. Like they always come out with some nonsense and they're like, great news, the new watch will call the police if your heart rate is too low or whatever. Like, there's always something.
Yeah, this stupid thing.
Whatever Apple thing is. Apple just put out a new MacBook that is less than a PlayStation. They were like, hey, we made iMac again. We made little colorful computers that you can get for a not obscene amount of money. And that just feels like the most, like, for the longest time, they have been making designer hardware. They've been making the bougiest, fanciest, sort of most like, who needs a PC? We have one button on our mouse controller. Whatever. And they just came out, they're like, hey, here's a new little laptop, and it's $600, $700, whatever. And it is, I think it's what, like $599? $499 if you're buying it for a school or something, like, and this is just, I'm not trying to sell people on a MacBook, but it just feels like one of those like what is a more expensive bird than a canary in a coal mine? This is like a peacock in a diamond mine. You're like, oh, heavens. So PS2, world dominating leader from PlayStation, right? So Sony takes over the world. They everybody who goes up against them for the first time in console history is just like, man, we can't even compete. A lot of it because they're a DVD player. PS3, we get cocky Sony again. Cocky Sony comes in, makes the stupid move. They charge way too much money. PS4, we're back on top, baby. Like, right? They were Xbox didn't really even stand a chance against the PS4. Like that was the sort of like, Don Matrix shoot yourself in the foot generation, like when they were like TV, sports. PS5, cocky Sony's back, baby. Doesn't just raising prices 6 years in, fucking spends $600 billion on Concord, makes everybody build casinos, like makes a car and cancels it. Like, we're back, baby. We are back. We're back, baby. We're back. So like, I love that I get to do this for a living. I love my job. I'm immensely grateful. Sometimes I just feel full blown fucking insane that I'm like, gotta hop on the PlayStation podcast and talk about how they canceled the car. Huge news, everybody! They canceled the PlayStation car. Like that was a shitty Reddit joke from like 12 years ago of like, great news, Apple's making a car, and instead of having a brake pedal and a gas pedal, it's just got one pedal in the middle that you slam on.
And you can't plug anything into it to pump gas into it.
What is it like? There was like a feature in there where you could make your like license plate look like it was the Spider-Man font for the Afeelin. Like it was like a 720p like widescreen monitor on the dashboard that you could change to have like a picture of Aloy or something. Like,
I'm not okay. I'm a simple man and I'm stupid. I'll say this, but I have. I'm going to point out how stupid we are right here, because the first thing that I'm looking at on my desk within reach. Let's take a look at this. This is a present that Max Scoville gave me one of the recent times we hung out. This is a pizza delivery guy from Playmobil, and he's covered in pizza stickers, and there's flames coming out the back, and he's got a disgusting beard, and I love it. And I own this, and I'm in my 40s. I don't know what to do with my life, and I'm going to put it down. Okay? But I do know this.
Where are you going with this?
If I took the money, comparatively, that Sony put into Concord, the 7 other canceled multiplayer games, a fucking car, and all the other dumb shit that they've done this generation, and I did a sort of a comparative version of that in my life, everyone around me would leave me. Like, if I took that level of money and I wasted it like that, right? People would be like, are you a gambling addict? Do we need to call, like, do you need to go in a rehab because you keep going in the track, right? And betting it all on Bessie needs a brand new bag or whatever. If they took that money, all that money that they wasted on all this crap, and they use it to just offset the losses that that they had to add to us as the consumers to make the console prices go up, we would be okay. But instead they didn't. They gambled incorrectly and poorly, and they spent it on a bunch of stupid crap that nobody wanted. Clearly no one wanted it because they canceled it. Like Concord, they canceled immediately. This car, I don't even think anyone's ever seen it in real life outside of CES. And if you did, you'd probably want to throw shit at it, or hit it with hammers. Look how stupid this is. Who wants to play God of War on a TV the size of a skateboard? It's
actually God of Car if you're playing it in the Afeelin.
It's just so dumb. The whole thing is so dumb. They wasted so much money on this, and it's money they'll never see again. And again, I don't know how to run a global a business. I don't understand anything. I'm stupid. I have a Playmobil pizza car. But I know not to waste money like that. I know that that's stupid. And I know that offsetting that cost and dumping those losses onto the consumer and punishing them long term sucks. And it's going to bring fewer and fewer people into the tent that is console gaming, and locking them into lifelong gamers forever. And they're just going to be playing Roblox slop forever. And I'm mad about that. And I think that's bad. And if you want to yell at me in the comments for anything I said today, that's fine. I don't care. I really don't care. I've seen people defend this. I think it's insane that anyone would defend a $200 price increase over 6 years, unless you are 6 years old and you've never seen a console in your life. Every console in history has dropped price significantly over time towards the end of its life cycle. They've gotten smaller, they've gotten sleeker, they've gotten lighter, and they've gotten cheaper. That was the rule forever. If you wanted the good, big, clunky, fancy one, you bought it on day one. If you wanted the mid-gen upgrade, you bought it on day one. These things did not go up hundreds and hundreds of dollars over time, and they shouldn't, and I hate that they are, and I think that's bad, and it sucks forever. The end.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a solution here. That's not.
I don't either.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Just not buy a PlayStation, I guess.
Like, if I was good with money, I wouldn't have bought you that Playmobil pizza car. Like,
exactly.
Don't listen to me. But I do think that maybe being like, hey, we've made an electric car that has a screen on the front, and you can make the front of your car say Astrobot. Why? For what purpose? I don't know. I don't get it. Like, they were clearly trying to compete with Tesla, where Tesla's like, great news, you can play Cuphead or The Witcher while you're charging your car. And yeah, instead they were like, yeah, what if the front of your car said Astrobot? I don't know why that was a thing. I guess it's good that they decided to stop making this thing, or just not make it. I mean, they refunded everybody who reserved one, but I know. yeah, my sort of mantra or my approach to this whole thing is always like, you should, the big question always should be is, who is this for?
Yes.
And yeah. Anyway, moving on, talking about PlayStation 6, take this with a big, healthy, like just a real heart-stopping grain of salt, like just a big pile of salt, like a Lunchables nachos worth of salt. There's on the subreddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors a couple days ago, there's a NeoGAF hardware leaker named Kepler L2 who claims that the PlayStation 6 will be around $750 for the cost of parts. Like, we don't know what this thing is made of, we don't know what the parts are in it, but they're basically, this is somebody who's close enough to this stuff, allegedly, and saying that this is basic estimate for the guts of the machine would be $760. And PlayStation or Sony historically sells things, sells hardware at a loss, the idea being they're going to recoup it on software sales. So
are they doing that anymore though?
Exactly.
Right.
So are they doing that? And they say that $700 is still possible with a reasonable subsidy. Obviously, there's all like sort of 4D chess of figuring out who's buying which chips and where it's coming from and all that. And they're talking about selling this thing in, allegedly it's not coming until 2029 at the earliest. But given the current price point for stuff that came out 6 years ago, is that even a realistic possibility anymore? Like, it really does feel like they are doing the large scale kind of corporate version of like when you ask your parents for $50 hoping you get 20. It's this sort of 3-card Monty of like, okay, the PlayStation 5 Pro is $900. So with that in mind, the PS6, if it comes out at $1,100, that's a bargain. What a steal. And again, we don't know what the PlayStation 6 is. We don't know if that's a thing that's even going to happen before in this decade. It's possible that gets pushed further down the road. But given the current circumstances, the current geopolitical, economic landscape, whatever the hell it's called, yeah, I don't think we need to be thinking about PS6 yet. Yeah.
Well, so I was kind of wrapping up to this before, but I think the issue is that it's not really up to us as consumers, because these guys have been in R&D on this system for so long that eventually they need to get it out, because the chips will be outdated. Like, the hardware will be like, it's such a moving target that you need to be able to put something out that is top of the line, but also meets that that balance of like, small enough that fits in a console, and gigantic air quotes cheap enough that a consumer can afford it.
I think Mark Cerny's just got himself like locked in the R&D wing, and they're like, Mark, can you come out? He's like, no. And he's got like an army of astrobots running around, and they're just figuring out how to make it even more liquid cooled. And yeah, no, they got to make a PS6. They made 5 of them.
It's gonna happen. And I mean, they are theoretically still in competition with whatever Xbox is working on. And we'll probably hear about what that chipset sounds like soon, and what its capabilities are compared to a high-end gaming PC. And that seems like it's the new thing now, right? Is like it's not just comparing the value. I saw a lot of people doing this when the Series X and the PS5 launched. They were like, this is what you're getting for $400-$500 versus this is what you would get comparatively for a gaming PC, which was like $800 for roughly the same tech at the time, right? And obviously, on a gaming PC, it's literally more modular, right? Like there's a lot more you can do out in the hood there. There's a lot more use cases and practices for it. You get that whole walled garden thing with the console where it's like you can't really do much outside of like its own store and stuff. But still, if you just want a thing that plays video games that looks really good, like a console's a pretty good bet. And then all the chip prices started going up for everything, and that conversation for a while there was even better, because it was like before we started seeing significant price increases in the console space like we did in the last 6 years, there was a couple years there where it's like, man, yeah, the PS5 is the way to go, or the Series X is the way to go if you want to play next gen games without having to buy a gaming PC and deal with all that. But now who knows anymore, right? Now, I mean, I think those numbers it's always be a moving target. They're like, gaming PC parts are still getting more and more expensive, and consoles are still getting more expensive. But at some point, like, the next generation does need to start, because these guys have been working on these things for so long. Mark Cerny has been developing whatever tech is going in a PS6 so long that you got to get it out there before it becomes outdated. And I don't really see them holding that for a year. I think that this generation, if it taught us anything, was that it took so long. It's still happening for people to make the jump from PS4 to PS5, right? Like there was that overlap has lasted longer this generation than any generation I feel like we've ever seen, right? Like where people were just like still the amount of concurrent players on PS4 2 or 3 years in the PS5 generation was staggering because all those people were still like, well, I just played GTA, Call of Duty, Apex, and all that other stuff, and like they were like, why should I upgrade for that? Like I don't know, you've played Fortnite on a PS5 versus a PS4, like cool. There's bloom lighting on the toilets, like it's not like a night and day thing. The companies making these games are making games that scale all the way to mobile, so like
Yep.
it doesn't really matter anymore ultimately.
No, I feel like we're seeing a thing with consoles right now that we saw with phones a while back, where they ran out of reasons to sell you a new one.
Yeah.
Like it's not a hardware limitation anymore. It's like you have to think of a use case. Like it's really what is this new thing able to do that you couldn't do already that you actually really want to do? And in the case of consoles, it also is a matter of like, can the software realistically take advantage of this thing that we're trying to get it to do? Like Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game.
Yeah.
Like that's bonkers. That's absolutely absurd. That is like, we look at like how the Switch performed and how it sold and how
GTA 5 is a PS3 game.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I've been messing around in GTA 5 again recently, and it's like looking at that, I'm like, and it's like the PS5 version, which again is such a like granular improvement over the PS4 version. Just looking at it kind of at a glance, that game is incredible. And I don't think the issue that game ran into was like hardware limitations. It was the amount of time it takes to make a game like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know. This is a bittersweet
right?
bittersweet thing, but like the fact that the Switch 2 is selling as well as it has sold, or what have you, and that it is sort of on par. It's somewhere between a PS4 and a PS5, depending on what you're trying to do with it. I think that I don't know. Maybe that will make people scope things differently. Maybe that will have developers making more. I don't know. Hear me. I'm being a sad little optimist again, but like, I don't know. I don't think the issue is that like the models and the lighting are not realistic enough. I think we've long past that. Again, The Last of Us Part 2, stunning game. It's a PS4 game. Mm-hmm. Like some of the best looking stuff on PS5 could have been a PS4 thing,
Yeah, probably. And I mean, if you look at the most popular games on Earth right now, like again, they're the ones that can scale to mobile and crappy laptops.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I don't know what the takeaway is, because at the same time, the best selling game in history will probably be GTA 6. And that is by all accounts, shaping up to be the most expensive single piece of media ever made.
Yeah.
Like the numbers being thrown around, like for, predictive of what people are, that has gone into dev on that thing. It's like in the billions, right? Like that's untenable for
they
the
built
AAA
a
studio.
city.
Yeah.
It reaches a point where when you're making a virtual city of a certain fidelity and you're creating the little virtual people walking around inside it, you're reaching a point where like you're not looking at creating a piece of media, you're looking at creating a piece of infrastructure.
Yes.
And they're thinking ahead for what the user generated content and what the online ecosystem is like. And that kind of transcends, like Monopoly is a game. You could make that with
like
a piece of cardboard and a Xerox machine. Like it's not.
There's like the ice cubes sweat in GTA 6, right? Like the the horse testicles shrink in Red Dead. I saw a video going around the other day of this like really rich lady, and she was going down to her mansion car garage, as we all do every morning.
You mean like a real woman or like a person in GTA?
No, as a real woman.
Okay.
And she was going down to the garage she has underneath her mansion, and she has this machine where you put your shoe onto it while you put your foot onto it, and it wraps your foot in like a single use piece of plastic so that you don't scuff up the floor on the floor of the car garage underneath your mansion. And I saw somebody pointing out, being like, "Hey, we're all using like paper straws, and meanwhile the rich are doing this, right?" And it got me thinking a lot about the games industry, about how like a company like Rockstar can afford to spend 16 years making details like that. But every other day, everyone else is having to tell all these stories about how like they had to shrink their scale down, or their production means, or cancel their games, or scrap their teams and their vision and all this other stuff. And yeah, man, something's got to give. And so I don't know. Great games still come out every single day. You and I, still get to play video games every single day, just like the people in our audience. We've gotten some really good ones this year already. But I forever worry about the long term of this shit.
Yeah, I don't want to be too dour about it, but like,
no,
I guess the upside is that like if you bought a PS5 in the last 6 years, you probably got a good deal, and they're going to keep making games for it for a while, because this isn't making people, I mean, it is making people run out and buy it, but like, I don't know, it is kind of nice to know that like, if you just bought a PS5, they're probably not putting out a PS6 in 20 minutes, like it's a ways off. I think that's always been there's always that sense of buyer's remorse when you jump in on something kind of late to the party, and the feeling that like, oh, I should have waited for the next version. Seems like a good time to do it. Or if you are worried about, I don't know.
I mean, it's because like otherwise you're waiting for a Black Friday sale, which will still be more expensive than the PS5 costs right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, or don't buy one.
While we're talking about economics, a thing we clearly understand in its complexities.
Business majors.
Capcom revealed some interesting data here. Resident Evil 4 remake turned 3. It celebrated its third birthday, and Capcom dropped the stats on how much money the merchant has been making by selling stuff in game. Again, it's all fake, fake gems and things, and how much people have sold to the merchant. And the merchant is not doing so hot. He is three. So let's see. Over the past 3 years, the merchant has sold 39,914,000,000 or 914,290,699,099 pesetas worth of gear. Players have also sold 43,251,570,618,389 pesetas worth of stuff to the merchant. So he's like in debt a lot. Like a lot of people have sold him a lot more stuff than they've bought from him. So I just love that is granular nonsense.
It's so good. I love learning stats like this, because this is the kind of thing you could never learn independently as a gamer, right? Like you don't get any of this. That is so much money.
Yeah, he's 3.34 trillion pesetas in debt. So what are you buying, bud?
Yeah, what are you buying, bud?
Yeah.
Like you're not if you were a local business, people would be worried, right? Like people would be, well, you'd be out of business for starters. Actually, you would probably be missing fingers, because like mob henchmen and bookies would be coming by to ruffle you up for all the money you're in debt to.
This is like gems and things too. Like he's buying like little candelabras and like cuckoo clocks and stuff. Like I just love that.
One thing we're not entirely clear on here is what his aftermarket looks like, right? Like he could be turning this, he could be on eBay afterwards. Like we know that the simple transaction with Leon makes Leon look like he's in the lead, and he's an economic genius. But if the merchant's turning around and he's flipping stuff on Craigslist, or he's like on Facebook and all that, and he's selling like pocket watches to boomers and stuff like that, like he might be making a lot of money back. He also could be he could be scamming people online.
I think he is.
He is. Or he could be getting scammed online.
Yeah. Probably both. But I love that guy. I don't know.
I do too. I think he's great.
I appreciate just Capcom popping up just to be like, hey, happy birthday to video game. Here's that man again. Here's that weird guy.
Real quick, I was gonna say this real quick. I really miss the colorful inventory in Resident Evil games. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like at one point they desaturated all of the items and the weapons and the bullets and stuff like that. And I feel like RE4 is like peak for that because they were like it was all these colorful, little boxes and stuff like that. I was in the Capcom store in Osaka the other day, and they had a pencil case that was shaped exactly like the handgun bullets, right down to the low res texture.
Oh, that's so good.
And I'm like, yeah, it's so. And I think it was either like a pencil case or a lunchbox or whatever. And I loved it. I love that big colorful look. And I feel like with the RE2 remake, they kept the functionality of the inventory system by making it, boxes that you had and shapes you had to organize in a small grid, depending on space. But they got rid of all the colorful stuff, and I miss that. I miss having like a big dumb, a Las Plagas removal gun and a fish and all this other nonsense. And they're all really colorful and bright, like TMP ammo being blue, the handgun ammo being red. I love all that, and it's a bummer to me that like they desaturated all that. That's like I love the new Resident Evil games. I love the direction that series is going. I feel like that's the one thing that they regressed in a way that I don't like, and I hope they get a little more fun with it in the next one. Because like those games are full of like really fun, charming Easter egg nonsense, right? Like they've got little raccoon bobbleheads that skitter when you're near them and you need to shoot them, and they have funny charms you can dangle from your guns, and they have silly costumes and stuff like that. And the inventory is the one thing that is desaturated and lost all personality. And I want the old stuff back. That's all.
So you were at the Capcom store?
Yeah.
Where?
In Osaka.
Can you say anything about that?
Yes, it was really cool. So I got this. This is he's the chainsaw guy from Resident Evil 4, and I guess he's like sort of like a sum. Maybe he is a sum sum. You know what a sum sum is?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like short, fat bags, like they're shaped like Disney characters. And I'm in the store, and they had a whole bunch of them. They had like Wesker and Lickers and all this other fun stuff. And I saw him, and I was like, I need to get him. And the other thing I got was so they're doing this 30th anniversary thing for Resident Evil, and they had a capsule toy machine, and they had all these different characters that I guess they're supposed to be shaped like cookies. And I saw this amazing thing where these two young Japanese girls were standing outside of the capsule toy machine, kind of like taking turns to like build up the courage to, I guess they got someone they didn't like, and they all wanted Leon, right? And one of them had a Wesker backpack, and I was like, this is awesome. Like
what does a Wesker backpack look like?
It was a backpack that just had pictures of Wesker all over the back of it. And I was like, how is this real? Like you guys are on a level of fandom that like we just don't have here. And I respect the hell out of that. And so they went up and like they put 5 yen into this thing, turn the thing, the capsule comes out, and they open it up and they're like, because I probably got doubles or something like that. And I waited my turn. I walked up. I wanted either Leon or the chainsaw guy, and I put five yen in, turned the thing, and I go, yes, like that, like a 6-year-old. And they all start gasping because I like pulled out Leon. I was like, I got so excited.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, it was such a fun moment. Like I don't know, I had some very fun capsule toy pulls when I was in Japan. But yeah, there is a store up there with a cafe in it, and the cafe is mostly Monster Hunter themed, and I was kind of bummed that they didn't have more Resident Evil stuff because I really wanted to get a Jill sandwich. I feel like that's the thing that should be there, and it wasn't. And so
I want to say like most of the things in Resident Evil, I don't want to eat them.
No.
Like Monster Hunter is all about like cooking and making like a big soup or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Resident Evil, it's like everything may have just like a slight sprinkling of T-virus all over it.
It's weird because in the kitchen areas with Grace early on in Resident Evil Requiem, there's a ton. I mean, obviously in the first area in that game, you walk into like a hotel, and the food is disgusting, right? Like she's picking up pots that have like maggots under the lid and stuff like that. But when you get to the kitchen area with the chef, you wouldn't know that things had gone bad so fast. There's some nasty food, right? Like there's that dining room area, but there's also some really good looking food in there. Like there's a couple of dishes that like are like, damn, chef can cook. Like even after the afterlife or whatever he's going through right now.
How long
as a living
had he
dead.
been a zombie, do you think?
I don't know, because I feel like it happened really quick in the first scene with Leon, with everybody, they turn pretty fast. But the fact that the doctors are still trying to do doctor stuff, and some of the people in the hotel are maids and stuff like that, makes me think that the chef could, in theory, still be throwing down in that kitchen. I think he might be still putting together some, like he's making like a burger, and he's like, he's doing it right. Like somebody ordered room service, and he's like, time to cook. Like I think there's food that's gone rotten that they're not taking care of, and I think there's food that he's making new that I think he's still got it until I shoot him in the head twice with a requiem and then get his key and go in the pantry. But before then, I think he's cooking.
If you had to eat a food prepared by a monster, what monster do you think would do the best job?
Probably mashed potatoes, like
Not
something
what
that they
food,
could smash.
what monster, I mean.
Oh, I gotta eat that. I thought you meant he's preparing it.
Monster mash is a good answer, but that's not where I was going.
There's tons of Godzilla guys I would eat.
No, not what monster you would eat. I mean, what monster would prepare the food?
Oh, the monster.
Like, would you eat like a food made by a werewolf or like a food made by a zombie?
I mean, Bowser fire breathing. Like, I mean, fire is the most ancient, heat source of all time. So I think that like there's plenty of fire breathing monsters that I would love to have prepare me something. Wolverine's not really a monster, but I'd love to see him take on sashimi. I think he could throw down. He's kind of a monster.
That's not the question at all.
What is the question?
What?
Every answer I have is wrong.
Well, Wolverine's not even on the menu here, man. That's not even that's not even.
Am I eating the monster?
No.
Okay. Am I?
So you're talking about how like you're like the zombie chef in Requiem.
Yeah.
The kitchen looks surprisingly clean for a dude who's just slamming around trying to eat people. He's got like a giant pot of blood in the corner for some reason. I'm saying like if that dude prepared me food,
could be sauce.
I think I would get sick. I think it would be a very bad time because unless you put him in like a special monster like hazmat suit to keep the zombie stuff away from the food.
Oh.
And I'm thinking like if I don't know, like I don't think vampires would be good at cooking because human food tastes terrible to them.
Also, like garlic is such a fundamental core of like most dishes,
Yeah, but they're I don't know, like when like interviewing the vampire, they're just like, just human food just tastes like sand. It tastes like
disgusting. He wouldn't be able to taste it at the same way.
And I think a werewolf would undercook your food no matter what, and it would also probably have hair in it.
So you need a monster that has a good palate, is what you're asking, right? Like
yeah.
What's a monster that could taste human food well and would eat it? Because I feel like a lot of monsters would just cut right to the chase and eat people.
Yeah,
but
if they had to prepare the food, I feel like a predator would be a good, like a yautja. Like I feel like they would make
a yautja. Yeah,
they could. Yeah,
Slimer eats all sorts of like man food. Right?
Yeah,
doesn't he eat like cakes?
But anything he cooked would be slimy. Like he would slime anything.
Did they ever show what he was like when he was a man?
Yeah, isn't it
was
just
he a big?
Isn't it just
was
Belushi?
He just like a big boy? Is it John Belushi?
He's supposed to be the ghost of Belushi, I think.
Oh my god! Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, so he is just a big boy.
Yeah,
a blues brother. Okay, yeah, I think those are some good answers. I'm also going to cheat and say a lot of the men on Scooby Doo who dress as monsters but aren't.
All right, that's a good answer. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of those guys running failed restaurants too. Mm-hmm. They're just anyway.
A lot of people left this show a long time ago.
They definitely did. But I'm
talking like 15 years ago, but if they're still here right now.
If any of you are still listening, thanks for that. That's a treat.
Thanks for listening. What are you going to plug?
I was going. You want to plug your thing?
I could do that. If you have real things to plug, you can do that.
I was going to go plug in my Honda Afeela.
If you bought one of those, is it going to get? Wait, did they ever sell that?
They never sold. They had reservation fees that they refunded. But I mean, there's definitely prototypes out there that somebody's going to wind up buying, and they're going to like, I don't know, jailbreak it and use it to do stupid things with it. Who knows?
You know what I'm excited for now is CES 2027. Because all bets are off for how Sony's going to get there. Uber, Lyft.
Terrible.
No, so last week I was in Kyoto, Japan at the Nintendo Museum. and I got to interview Shigeru Miyamoto and Chris Meledandri, who is the founder of Illumination. I found out that man produced Cool Runnings, which I think is pretty amazing. If you've ever seen that Jamaican bobsled movie, you can thank him for that, which I forgot to do when I was there. I also interviewed the cast of the movie, and that was very fun. So we've got a bunch of stuff that should be up on IGN by the time you check this video out. And yeah, it was great. It was a really cool time, and I'll be on NVC talking about it this week.
Right on. It sounds like you had really an incredible time. I'm dying to see what you did with all that. Before we go, last week we had a poll asking if renaming the PlayStation Network was the right move, and 2/3 of you said yes, it is, and 1/3 said no, it isn't. So, controversial topic there. For poll this week, I'm curious. Okay, for anybody who hasn't bought a PS5 yet, are the raising prices making you want to get out there and buy one, or are you just kind of like, screw it at this point? Head over to Spotify and let us know. Yeah, it's a weird time. Weird time to be following games. But hey, if you're looking to play a bunch of games for really cheap and also help support a great cause, this month's Humble Choice bundle is up right now. You get a curated bundle of PC games. It includes Tempest Rising, Chants of Sennar, Sworn, Etrian Odyssey 3 HD, Bread and Fred, 0 Hours, Small Lands, Survive the Wild, and Hard West 2. Proceeds go to support the Malala Fund, which is a nonprofit working to break down the barriers that hold back more than 130 million girls worldwide from getting an education. Head to humblebundle.com, grab some great games for a great price, for a great cause today. We will have an interesting episode next week. I don't want to tease it too specifically because we haven't quite made it yet, but I will also be off on some international travels, and we'll figure out how to make it work. And on that note, thanks to everybody for watching and listening, and beyond.
Beyond.